Hey everybody, it's your girl DJ with Plan for Keys Dating App and Podcast. And today I have my homegirl Kenyana. She is here for Dating Chronicles, where we give funny, crazy, or lesson learned dating stories. We also talk about different dating topics. How you doing today?
Excited to be here to support you.
I appreciate you coming to support me.
Yeah.
Now, the topic that we have been discussing lately
Uh-huh.
is, why do these dudes be out here playing games?
That's a great question. I'm ready to answer those questions, but I can only speak from my experience, and what I've been through. And so what I'm going to say today is it may make some people feathers get a little ruffled, or maybe some people can resonate with me. So yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so we're going to dive straight in. Why do you think dudes be playing games? Or what experiences have you been through lately?
Right. So I'll have to say, just speaking from my own personal experience, I do feel that a lot of guys, one, probably don't know what they want. Two, there are a lot of options out there. And then three, some people have commitment issues because they grew up in different household settings where they may have did see a two-parent household or they may not. I know for me, I grew up in a single-parent household. So for me, commitment is a tad bit of an issue, but I'm willing to commit to someone if I feel like if they're worthy of my commitment.
Interesting. Okay. So you said you have issues with commitment. Do you feel, and it's not a jab at you,
Right.
but do you feel that in a way, if you have issues with commitment, would you mesh with somebody subconsciously that may have issues with commitment?
I will be honest. I do feel that I typically go for people who have similar issues than me
Yeah.
because I feel that I can fix them. You know how it's like that inner child in you
Oh, yeah.
and you suffered from a lot of stuff and then you see it within somebody else and you just like, okay, I've seen me in them. I want to see if I can help them.
Yeah.
So I battle with that a lot.
Boom. Okay, I can definitely relate, but more on the other end because I think for me, like, I could see somebody who, or maybe I guess it's the same. Like, I know I was from my childhood, I was to myself, by myself.
Me too.
And for me, it was hard to navigate at first, like real life, stuff like that.
Right.
So then when I see somebody that's on the same end of like that spectrum,
Right.
I feel like I got out of it and I want to help them.
Yeah. Me too.
What? Okay, for me that looked like people pleasing and bending over backwards. I don't think that's you though.
So let's talk about the people pleasing part. So I had to self-identify what people pleasing look like for me. I will say this, I do have boundaries with people and I'm very vocal about my boundaries.
Yeah.
You know that because you've been on it for a long time.
Yeah.
But I do feel that sometimes I will dim my light for others because I can see that they have insecurities within themselves. So that is my people pleasing. So I'll kind of lean back and I'll be like, okay, let me lean back a little bit. Let me give them more of the spotlight because I feel that I might be either overpowering them or outshining them. And so when I was speaking to my best friend about, some of the things that I deal with, which is one of those things, she always reminds me, like, at the end of the day, like, you can't dim your light just for other people to feel secure about themselves because if they felt secure about themselves, then they wouldn't be insecure when they're around you. So the issue's not with me. The issue is within themselves.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that, like now in dating and building rapport, or how are you thinking you want to navigate that? Because are you taking a break right now?
I am. I've been on a long break. We ain't gonna put no numbers on there. Because y'all be talking about me. But anywho, which I wouldn't care anyways, but I have taken a long break from the dating world.
But I know when you step out, you get a lot.
I step out the game.
You step out the game, but when you do step out, like in general, because you out and about for work,
Right,
and different things like that, you get a lot of attention.
I do.
So how do you even navigate that?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow, you really coming with the smoke today. Okay. I would have to say because, and this is something you can also confirm, with me, I do have like a bubbly personality, and I do feel that a lot of people gravitate towards me. So I'm a very likable person.
You are.
And so I do feel like sometimes, like me being that type of person, one, it comes off like as being flirtatious to a lot of guys. And I'm like, but it ain't even me. Like, I'm just nice. And then on top of that, it's more so like, how do I put boundaries in place to where I can still show up and be a kind person, not nice. Don't get it twisted. I'm kind, but I ain't nice. How can I show them be kind, but also to where they don't think that I'm being flirtatious? So that's another issue and problem that I'm working on now, because I have been in a lot of situations where people or guys thought that I was flirting with them because I'm just being kind to them, but that's just who I am at the core. And then on top of that, I don't really know if guys like me like that. Like, and I've told you that before. I'm like, I don't know if they're just being kind to me or do they really like me? Because I won't know unless you tell me.
I'm back. Okay. I think for you put such a straight line though out there. Yeah, you kind, you nice, but at the same time though, like you said, you don't know if guys like you. Do you think because you feel like you just being kind out there? True. My question. Okay, do you feel because you are being kind and not nice and not being flirtatious, if a guy expresses the same type of sentiment, you already in your mind like, okay, they don't like me, like
I don't. So for me, I'm gonna be real honest. Like, professional is professional to me. Personal is personal to me. You know, I always separate the two. So when I'm doing anything professionally with you, I'm always gonna be professional with you.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be on anything flirty. I will be kind to you. Um, but if it's something personal, like I told you, I like directness. So if you like me, you need to express that you like me. But I will say this about me. I am one of those people, I don't really like people too easily. You know that about me anyway.
Yeah, I do.
I don't like people too easily, especially when it comes to like the dating aspect. But I will say this. I don't feel like I would be afraid to tell someone that I like them though, if I did like them, if I felt like the feeling was mutual. But I have to make sure that the feeling is mutual before I even say anything. Cause I'm not one of those girls who's gonna be like, oh yeah, by the way, I want to talk to you or I think you're attractive. I'm not doing it. Cause I'm real old school. I want the guy to literally approach me. And it's not that I want to be chased. I'm not looking to be chased because I don't want to play games with nobody.
Yeah.
But I would like for the guy to approach me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now that do be approaching you though. They be approaching
Wait there.
friend. You know they be in your little inbox. Now you may not like them though, but they come for you. And you politely put them down.
I do. I politely do put them down, but not put them down in a way to where it makes them feel bad. It's just more so being very upfront and transparent with them. Like, hey, like, I appreciate you telling me that you like me and that you want to take me out on a date. But one, I'm not in the dating game right now.
Okay.
Two, I'm also not interested. So I feel that when you are transparent with them, instead of like leading them on or just ignoring them, I feel like, to me, I just feel that that is like being negative or just being, kind of like it can be perceived as kind of being stuck up too, because guys can put us in that bubble. But I'm definitely not a stuck up type of person. I just feel that effective communication is really key. So if I don't like you, I just need to let you know, like, hey, either I'm not attracted to you, I'm not interested, or I don't want to go on a date with you.
Got you.
So yeah.
So okay, we opened up this podcast with why do these dudes be playing games? Okay. But then we just talked about how dudes be hitting your inbox up. Right. Like, no. So what is the difference between the guys who be hitting your inbox up direct versus the guys who be playing games?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I would have to say, for the guys who be hitting me up versus the guys who be playing games, it's a big difference. The ones who be hitting me up, they are very direct. They know what they want and they are telling me everything. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, oh, they hitting you like a ton of bread. Like, I wasn't ready for that.
I'm a little bit because they too fast, too quick, too.
I'm going to be honest. One, it doesn't turn me off, but it does scare me.
Okay.
because I feel like you're trying to love bomb me. So what is your motive? Because that's the next thing I'm thinking in my head, because I've actually had somebody do that to me in the past. And this was somebody who I actually knew from a long time ago, like school days, right? And so I'm just like, this happened to me before. And typically I wouldn't have even entertained someone who even tried to come to me in that type of platform, right? And so when that did happen, and then I think about everything that took place during that time when I was talking to that person, they literally love bombed me. And then they were very manipulative. And then on top of that, they were a compulsive liar. So it's just like, whoo, when you go through like traumatic experiences, it's really hard for you to get back out there in the game and not think that somebody else is going to do that same thing to you. So I feel like with people who are in my inbox, they are direct, but it's scary to me.
Yeah.
And then the ones who play games, I feel that they like to breadcrumb you. They make you think that they're probably interested, but they probably not. It's more so like an admiration thing. Or I feel that maybe they could try to be trying to use you. You know, like some people are what word would you say? I would say some people are opportunists. That's the word I'm looking for. So you got to be careful with that too.
Yeah.
Or they could simply have someone, or they just may like for people to chase after them. So they'll attempt to start something with you, but it's like, I'm doing this so I can get you to chase me and put you back into the palm of my hand. Then I take power of you.
Yeah, that's cruel. Yeah. Because I think that's the majority of what it is, a fear of commitment from the guys who don't got nobody.
Right.
I think it's fear of commitment.
Right.
And then a sense of control too of the situation.
Right.
So you stay at bay in some type of way available.
Right.
And they're able to still reach out.
Yeah. Pretty much so.
All right. Honestly, thinking of just where do you lean more towards? Who? Just versus the guys who are direct and that scare you, or kind of the like how do you balance knowing now, like monitoring and kind of like in your mind frame, you noticing the difference is how do you make the right decisions now?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel that based on past experiences, right? And then me also taking a break from the dating world, which has been a long break. I feel that for me, I always learn from my mistakes. I never try to make the same mistake twice. And you know, we talk about that heavily. I tell you that all the time. Once something happened to me, it's just like putting your hand on the stove. You ain't got to worry about me again. I will not be doing it again. So I feel like for me, I'm on this journey of where I don't want either or. I would prefer for it to happen naturally and organically. So that could be while I'm out in the professional world and I'm doing stuff for my job. I typically don't like to mix pleasure with professional. You know how I feel about that. And I'm very strict in that department. So
Do you feel like you can just a little bit of wiggle room?
I would like to get there, but I'm afraid of that too. And you know my concerns about that. If it's gonna put my career in danger, I don't play no games. I'm a Capricorn. You already know about us. We get to the money.
Yeah.
You're not about to mess up my coin.
But how do you? I mean, because you're going to get to know the man first to make sure he ain't.
I will, but I'm going to be honest with you. I have seen situations where people have dated and it basically transpired from a professional setting, right?
Yeah.
And then it backfired to where it created chaos and drama within the workplace.
Yeah.
Or the person tried to get the other person fired. So it's just like, I think of things like that because I'm like, if you're going to try to be messy, I'm not going to deal with you on that end.
I think you're pretty good at judge of character, though.
I think I am too, but I do feel that we all can make mistakes too. And I do feel like a lot of people can mask themselves, which means that they can perceive to be something that they really aren't for a long period of time. I've seen that happen too. That actually happened to me before. Somebody, it ain't funny, but we gonna laugh because you know you have to laugh and keep them hurting.
Right.
So So I say this to say is that a person pretended to be somewhere for a very long time with me, and then when something really serious happened, I was like, "Oh wait, hold on, you got some mental health issues, deeply rooted." This was not the person who I met, who I was talking to for months,
Yeah.
and you just flipped on me. So you gotta be careful. You do gotta be careful with people.
So through that experience and just reflecting, have you thought of ways of how you probably maybe you miss red flags, or have you thought of ways of how you can kind of navigate to see how a person is quicker?
That's a good question. I will say this. I do feel that we see red flags all the time, but we try to pretend like we don't see them.
Yeah.
And just like, oh no, that's not what I thought it was. Whole time it was what I thought it was. That was my intuition. And I'll be honest, I feel like my intuition is always on point. It's always on point.
I feel like you cling to the red flags that you felt like you missed the past people a little too hard though, because you be hard.
Be hard on people.
A little bit. Oh,
But my thing is, would you rather for me to be hard on them, or would you rather for me to let them walk me like a dog?
rather for you to I'd rather for you to be hard on them. I would.
'Cause I'm telling you, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile, and you know that.
But how do you get to the point? And this is when you're ready. 'Cause I
Right.
know you ain't ready right now. There ain't nobody. You focus
Right.
on your career. You're getting
My
to
kids.
all of that.
Oh yeah, and yes, I do have kids.
So when you are ready,
Right.
when are you gonna get to the point of where you kind of not let the walls down, but in a way like, because I feel like your boundaries are really, really they real strenuous, they real tight. They can be.
I feel like I have flexibility though. I do, but it's only for the right person, for the person who I feel that is in alignment with me and who is also open and can be vulnerable and they're ready to be serious.
But who?
Have flexibility.
Your walls are so high though. How's anybody gonna be that way with you? Cause you gotta be a little bit vulnerable too. For anybody to be vulnerable with you, cause shit, men.
That's true. And I do feel that I can be vulnerable.
With some coaching.
Okay. I'll take it. I'll take that. And you acknowledging you are somebody who's close to me. And I always like to get
I think you vulnerable.
from people who actually know me to have an understanding of like where the areas of like my strength and my weaknesses are.
I think you vulnerable, but you vulnerable to a part of like professionally.
Right.
You open up enough to get the job done.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I think I can be vulnerable, but again, this goes back to, can I trust this person? Because for me to be vulnerable with anybody, I have to be able to trust you. I have to know that whatever I discuss with you is going to stay between us.
Right.
If it's something really personal, right?
Yeah.
And I have to feel that you're not going to try to destroy me if something.
But if a guy hits you up in a DM,
Right.
and maybe you are like, oh, what does that even look like? Is it just a hey, how you doing? Like,
Are you talking about my response?
no, looking at them like they reach out to you in a way like they're trying to shoot their shot to get to know
Right.
you. Like, what would get? I know you will respond regardless,
Right.
but what would be one where you don't totally be like, okay,
Us and put their business out for what? What is it gonna do for me?
nothing.
You know? So I feel like for me, I have to get to that point with somebody to where I can trust them at that level. Like, can I trust you with my information? Are you gonna try to use my information to destroy me? Because if I feel like that, you ain't got to worry about me. You ain't gonna know nothing about me. You're not to that extreme. No.
Yeah. That's how I mean on the phone. You're like, What about, okay, so when you are, because you're not really navigating the space to date somebody, but let's say if you are interested in
Right.
somebody, you think you're interested in
Right.
somebody, how do you expect them to somewhat open up to you to show you those vulnerable parts? Not as deep as what we just was discussing, but vulnerable enough to get to know, for you to get to know them so they can get to know you. Like, what does that look like for you?
Friendship.
Okay.
Friendship.
Yeah. So then the guys who are super direct, you don't want to build friendships at all. Is it they look? Friend, I need to know. Do they look crazy? Is that another thing too?
Friend, you coming with all the smoke today, huh? It's giving barbecue. To be honest, I am one of those me. I can only speak for me.
Yeah.
I'm one of those individuals where looks aren't everything to me, but I also don't want to say that you don't have to be attractive looking because I at least need to be attracted to you in some shape, you way, shape, or form, right? But I'm not really big on you just being, oh my God, like God's gift from her. I'm not looking for that.
Yeah.
I typically don't even go for those type of guys anyway, because I feel that guys who do have like a certain type of look and most women want them, for me, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have to worry about a lot of people want my man. Now I want you to want my man because I know he look good.
Right.
But I don't want it to be to where it's like disrespectful type of way, just throwing themselves at him. And
Yeah.
every time I go somewhere, we gotta worry about this and all this and that. I'd rather not. But again, I'd rather for him to look attractive, and I do want people, of course, if they think he's attractive and they think he's attractive, I can't do anything about that. But I think for me, I just never went for pretty boys. I never went for pretty boys. I feel like I always went for guys who are attracted to me. And I'm attracted to them as well. And again, I just feel that a lot of people, when they do see me, a lot of guys, they even think I'm conceited. I've been told that before.
Yeah.
And it's not because of them having a conversation with me. It's just how I carry myself.
And carry yourself and just how you look in general.
Yeah. So they think it, I'm top, like, oh, this girl may be conceited. But as soon as they spark a conversation, they be like, oh, she's not. She's really down to earth. And so I just feel that for me, I'm not really stuck strongly on look. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm not one of those people who's really picky and I'm looking for this and that. All of that stuff kind of got thrown out the window years ago. Like, I had a reality check when I got in my 30s. Because prior to my 30s, I was like, you got to be 6 feet or better. Or you got to be within that height range, right? So I was like, okay, you got to be kind of like athletic, bodybuilder.
Yeah.
You also have to have a nice smile. You have to be groomed a certain type of way. You got to be like brown, like a cocoa butter brown. You got to be dark. I had my whole little list together. You hear me? And so what I realized was when you have like this list, it's really not realistic.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
It's blocking you probably from the person that
it really is.
deal with. So I should have asked you a better question.
Okay.
As far as the DM thing,
right?
As far as look, what I should have asked you is, okay, a guy who's giving off too much in the DM, giving you their whole life and what they think they looking for,
right?
How fine they think you is,
right?
And how they want by 5 of your kids. And okay, what if a guy hits you up in a DM,
right?
And maybe you are like, oh, what does that even look like? Is it just a hey, how you doing? Like,
are you talking about my response?
No, looking at them, like they reach out to you in a way like they're trying to shoot their shot to get to know you. Like, what would get? I know you will respond regardless,
right?
But what would be one where you don't totally be like, yeah, okay?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know a lot of guys want to know this because guys be shooting they shots in the DMs, girl, and some will be thinking, and maybe they're not like love bombers, but they feel like they need to be a love bomber,
right?
So what does that look like? Like
the turn off for me?
Nothing, but maybe the turn off, and then also like
in the things that I will what I would like,
the days that you probably would be like, okay, pique your interest.
Well, let's start off with the things that I do not like when they shoot their shot with me within my DMs. I would have to say one, like overly doing things. So one thing would be always saying, "Oh wow, like you just look so good. I just want to do this to you." So it's just like always admire me because of like my physical looks, which I know guys are is that for their physical creatures, right? We do know that. And that's all good. But the thing is like when you keep doing that to me, but I can speak for me, I feel that at that point you only just like me because of how I look. You don't really want to get to know me.
Right.
Because if you really wanted to get to know me, then you would be trying to ask me out on a date to
Right.
get to know me.
Okay.
So that is one of my pet peeves. Don't keep saying, "Oh my God, like you look good, you attractive. I want to do this to you. If I could just get a weekend with you," don't do that because at this point, it makes me seem like I'm a prostitute.
Right.
But that's like you.
Yeah.
This makes me feel that you are looking at me like I'm like a sex object. And it's like, I don't want to be treated like that.
Right.
Try to get to know me, ask me out on a date so we can get to know each other. And okay, cool. So we can see if this could actually go past us getting up for one date. Maybe we can go on several dates and maybe it could become something serious. Who knows? But I am a sucker for intellect. I'm a sapiosexual.
Okay.
You know that about me. But I also am real big on getting to know people for who they are, right? Not trying to come in and change who you are. Like, be your authentic self when you are speaking to me. Because I'm going to be real with you when we're speaking. You know, when we go
Yeah.
on our first day, I ain't sugarcoating nothing with you. If you ask me, like, "Hey, do you have kids?" I have kids. I have two might have had.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, if you ask me, how do I feel about marriage? I'm gonna tell you how I feel about marriage. And how do I feel about marriage right now in the way that the dating pool is? I am uncertain. I don't know.
I feel like once one deals their stuff
Right,
and then they move into the dating pool,
right,
they won't care about the crazy people that they run into because they know at the end of the day, dating is a numbers game.
right. It is.
And you're going to eventually link with the right person because you trust yourself, who trust you.
Right.
So,
I agree.
and I said, nah, dating pool's okay.
Right,
You let the ratchets and the other type of men be them and
right,
just continue navigating until you
right.
find that person.
I agree. Yeah, I think for 2025, I'm actually gonna challenge myself to be open to the dating world again. That took a lot to say.
I mean, and how are we doing this? Are we gonna do like go to more event, like more like actual singles type event, or you gonna get back on the apps, or the apps too exhausting for you? Like,
So, I've never used the app before. Yeah.
who did you?
I had no, I've never used the dating app before because what I told you, I am old fashioned.
Yeah.
I like to meet people out and about.
Okay.
So I've never used a dating app before. I'm not judging anyone who does prefer to use the dating apps.
Yeah.
I just feel like for me, I want something that is more in person because I am an in person person.
Got you.
And just to kind of speak to that a little bit, even in my career, right? I do a lot of like partnership development. I also do events and things of that nature. So for me, I feel like I get the best sides of people when I actually can meet them in person and get to know them. And it's easy for me to kind of vet them too.
Got you.
Yeah, when I'm in person instead of trying to get them know them through an app, which I know you can still meet up with them, for like a date or something after you connect on an app. But I prefer not to.
Do you feel like too, like when you meet people like through events and stuff, and then you actually can gauge, okay, what they do for a living, kind of their passions, their purposes, and stuff like that? Because are you also looking for that as well?
So that's a good question. Something that I know about me when I do go to events, especially when it's like work related events, because I go to a ton. That's what my life revolves around is events and planning events and developing partnerships and also doing a lot of operational things, right? So for me, I am personable and I'm very inquisitive, which means I'm going to ask you questions, but I'm not asking questions to, I guess I don't want anybody to ever feel like I'm asking questions to size them up. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like sometimes people think that you're asking them questions to put them in a box. I want to deal with them. That's not me. I really want to get to know you. I don't care where you came from. I don't care what you got. I really want to get to know you as a person because this is who I am.
And it also helps you weed out the men who will have issues with that.
Yeah.
And who don't. Because at the end of the day, that's not going to change about it.
Right.
So turn that down. You know?
Right. Yeah, that's me.
Got you.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, going back to the topic, what would be your advice for men who tend to play games?
I would have to say for the men who play games, figure out one, why are you playing games? You need to figure out what's the deeply rooted issue there. Because there's a reason why you're doing it.
Right.
Two, stop playing games. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of people out here in the dating world who actually want something serious.
They do, and they probably will kill you if you find the right.
No, for real. Like, for real. You see all the stuff that's going on in the news where people are killing their somebody who they were dating or a significant other because something happened or they were playing games with their feelings and their emotions. And that happens, right? So that could happen. And then I would say, last but not least, stay out of the dating world until you're ready.
Or just that. You know, if it's like a subconscious thing and it's deeply rooted and you can't figure out right, you don't want to commit. Or if you're somebody who like to talk to different people, just be honest up front. Because that's plenty of women who are okay with that.
Bingo.
But I feel like, again, because of some of these men deeply rooted issues, they like the bread.
Right.
They like the woman to chase. They like the woman to feel, because they need that control.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, y'all,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And it's so funny that you made that last statement because that actually happened to me in a situation where I asked a dude right in front of me. I'm like, you know, if you're talking to other girls or women, I'm totally fine with it because we don't go together. We're just dating. And I was like, if I'm talking to other people, I will let you know. Because we're dating, right? You don't owe me nothing. I don't owe you anything.
Right.
But I do feel that we owe each other respect and honesty.
Yeah, and to tell them the truth.
Yes.
Why do you think in dating?
But he lied to me.
I know it did. Because a lot of them will lie. It's like, what is the stigma behind people?
I think that they feel that if they tell you the truth, they're going to lose access to you. Now, I will say this. You probably won't lose access to me, but you will probably lose how much access you get from me.
Yeah.
I will put up even more boundary between me and you because I do, and I'm gonna tell you why.
What kind of boundaries? Because if we're all
right,
if you saying, hey, I'm dating other people, and the guy say, hey, I'm dating people, like say this is a first date, would you still put boundaries of if he's pursuing and wants to take you out on more dates and want to get to know you? Would you still feel a need to put a boundary?
Not in the beginning. Okay. No, I would not. Because again, we don't know each other, right? We're getting to know each other. Okay. So no, I wouldn't. But if we are constantly going out on dates, okay, say we've been dating for like 3 to 6 months. Yeah. That's going to change for me. Because at this point, if you're still entertaining me for 3 to 6 months, then you're trying to go somewhere serious with me. At that point, I feel like you are, in my mind. But if it comes to a point where I'm asking you like, hey, are you still actively dating other women? And we're now at mark 3 or 6 months. At that point, and you just like, yeah, I am still dating other women. I think, okay, well, let me make sure that I keep my locked up because I'm going to stay out here too dating as well.
What do you, okay, let me ask you this. Okay, roster up, or do you just move on because at the end of the day, you know that's not what you want?
So that's a great question. And the reason I say that is because, one, it could be somebody who I really like. So for me, it's like, okay, we're dating. We're both said we're still dating other people, right? But we're at 3 to 6 months. At that point, I do feel that if I feel like there's potential, I will continue to entertain the person. But again, there will be boundaries. They won't get as much access to me until I know that they know that I am what they want, right?
Gotcha.
So I'm not going to give up my people for you until I know it's going to be a mutual thing and we want to date each other and X everybody else out.
So you put up boundaries.
Yeah.
You continue the boundaries until somebody else come along that takes you more seriously, or do you give it just more time and then like, okay, he clearly is just doing what he wants to do or doesn't want to lock in? Do you just cut it off after a certain period?
Yeah, I think for me, after 6 months, it's a cutoff. It's a cutoff for me after 6 months because I feel like at that point we've actually got through half of a year.
Yeah.
So at that point, if you don't know if you want to be serious with me, I got to move on. We're going to keep playing games and then I'm going to keep dating other people and trying to figure out if somebody going to outreach you now finna jump ship. That's crazy.
That's correct.
I knowing that when I could just get rid of you, I've spent enough time with you to vet you. And I feel like you have too. And then let's talk about men. It don't take long for men to know if they want you or not.
That's really a lot.
It does not.
Saying.
It does not. Even when I speak to men that I know personally, they have told me it does not take them long whatsoever. And I feel like, well, women, we're so patient. We'll wait on men to like us the way that we like them.
Right.
Oh, 2025?
No.
That's not for me.
Got
No.
Okay.
If the bill is not mutual, we're not doing it.
Well, we're going to dive into this other segment of my podcast, okay? I'm going to ask you 3 questions from this card deck that I have on sale on my website.
Right.
If you like the questions, y'all hit the website up. All right. So, my first question for you. How do you feel about people depending on you and why?
So when it comes to people depending on me, I feel like this is a twofold type of response. And the reason I say that is because one, I do feel because I am the oldest and I've always had to do so much for so many people from a young age up until adulthood. I've actually carried the burden of always have to do things for people if people depended on me. So it's kind of like, it causes burnout.
Yeah.
But I also feel like when I'm in a relationship with someone and it requires for them to depend on me or me to depend on them, I am very flexible. I do want my partner to feel like he can depend on me if we're in a relationship.
Yeah.
But I do feel that boundaries should be put in place with that too, because if not, you set up something that starts to look like codependency, right? Ooh, and that's not healthy. So I want us to be able to support each other and depend on each other, but I don't want it to come to where it's like a one-way street.
Right.
So that's how I feel about people depending on somebody, whether that's from personal experience with just your family, your friends, or even a relationship. That's how I feel about dependency.
Perfect. Okay. Who or what inspires you in your career?
I would have to say the person who inspires me. This might be cliche, but I would have to say me. Being a little cocky here, right? Also, I'm about to be lying.
What is it right to say? She accepted an award and she said, I have nobody to thank but me.
Me.
I'm
going to have to because I have really pulled myself out of some of the darkest times in my life. And I kept pushing.
Yeah.
And I did have family. I had friends around me who supported me. And I thank them all the time. I'm so thankful for them. But at the same time, I had to think about my mental state and how I was able to overcome those things.
Yeah.
But also, too, I feel like I
got you.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, going back to the topic, what would be your advice for men who tend to play games?
I would have to say for the men who play games, figure out one, why are you playing games? I never gave up on a lot of things and I've always continued to push and pivot. And so I'll always say that I inspire myself because I came from nothing and I'm definitely going to have something before I leave this earth. Right. So I'm just like, I got to thank me. And typically I don't say that because me, I'm real humble. I don't really like to spotlight myself a lot because I'm just not that type of girl. But you just gotta give yourself the accolade because you deserve them.
Great.
Right.
That's what's
So
up.
that's what I'm at.
That's up. My last question. How do you cope without someone to love you?
Great question. I feel for me it's real easy because I have been in situations where I felt for a long time that I was not loved.
Yeah.
And let me expand on that. So, even when I was growing up in my household, I knew that my mom loved me and I knew that she was going to care for me however she could, right? But also, too, growing up with a single parent and not receiving attention from another parent. And it's just that at that point, it's kind of like I went through this phase of like, do I even feel like I'm being loved?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so I feel that when I went into adulthood and I went through a traumatic issue of losing somebody really close to me,
Yeah.
I feel like, oh wow, like do can I receive love from people or do people love me the way that this person loved me? Because I feel like this person loved me beyond, right? And so when that happened, I ended up finding other avenues of showing self love
Yeah.
and also giving love. And so how I did that was one, I continued to focus on me and my kids and focusing on our mental health and making sure that we're good
Right.
and empowering my kids. So doing that, that makes me feel loved because my kids know that I love them. I show that I love them. I support them. And I feel like love from your kids is like the best love in the world.
I agree.
It's something you cannot explain to people who don't have kids. And not to say they have to be your biological kids because they don't.
Yeah.
But it's something about getting love from kids that really changes your outlook on life, right? So I'm so thankful for my kids. And then I would have to say too, being more self-aware and loving myself first.
Yeah.
That was another thing I had to do. Like, what does self-love, self-care look like for me? And I would say last but not least, giving love to others. Being kind, right?
Yeah.
So I stepped into public health, which is my background, because I realized about myself that I actually like helping people.
Yeah.
And when I help people, that makes me feel the love that I need as well, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm doing kind things for people to help them. I'm not looking for anything in return. I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart.
Yeah.
So I would have to say those are ways that I've been able to cope with not feeling loved, if that if that ain't a thing.
Yeah.
But those things help me feel loved.
Got you. Now, there's so many people who cash out because they don't have a partner.
I know.
So that's why I asked that question.
Right.
Like, how do you cope when you're not in a relationship
Right.
with somebody?
You gotta find other avenues.
Absolutely. I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to the one of the strongest people I know. Real talk. Kenyana.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tell the audience where they can find you, just in case a man want to be in the DMs. I'm just playing.
You can find me at Kenyana Glows. That is my Instagram name. And also too, you can put it in your
The show notes.
you know.
I'll give him permission, y'all. Permission.
You can put it in your comment area.
Okay, big.
We can go ahead and post it.
You know how we. Girl, again, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank all the listeners.